It looks like it was another unfortunate day for MSTR investors / bag holders. If you guys did not see the news, S&P 500 did not include Microstrategy. Surprise, surprise. It says the last time that Microstrategy was eligible for the S&P 500 inclusion, the price was 86% higher, which in my opinion was its best chance to ever be included to the S&P 500. But now trading 86% lower for MicroStrategy, do you think that Wall Street wanted to get a better entry price before being blessing strategy with this inclusion? For those that do not know, being included to the S&P 500 is like one of the biggest benchmarks and milestones for any publicly traded company that is actually successful. The unfortunate part about MicroStrategy is that although at the surface it almost meets all of the criteria to be included into the S&P 500, it forgot one little thing. And that is pretty much stating that the company, as in the S&P 500, does not want to include any business whose, again, strategy's omission with the S&P 500 is in line with long-standing norms. The index committee has traditionally avoided admitting companies whose primary income streams are generated from pure asset exposure, in this case, Bitcoin, rather than operating fundamentals. And that is, as simple as it gets. For those that actually understand MicroStrategy, you understand that its $500 million software business is a failing business. It loses more money than it actually makes. It loses hundreds of millions of dollars, where if it wasn't because of its Bitcoin and its way that it can issue debt and borrow against its shareholders at 0% interest. If it wasn't for that gimmick, which let me make very clear, any company can do. Any NVIDIA, Tesla, Apple, they can all do exactly what MicroStrategy is doing. What MicroStrategy is doing is not unique. The only reason MicroStrategy is doing it is because their business is so terrible that they have no other alternative to be relevant, to be successful. So they do have to go all in on Bitcoin. If you don't believe me, look at its price and zoom out as much as you need to. It's been a failing business since 2000. Since then, it's been trading pretty much flat. And it wasn't until, I believe, 2020 where it began to pick up the gimmick of buying Bitcoin. And it ran up with Bitcoin, and then it crashed 80% with Bitcoin itself. The only reason MicroStrategy is one of the few companies that do it is because every other publicly traded company is actually focused on growing their business. And that's it. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. It's sure, if it wants to call itself a Bitcoin treasury, that's fine. But it's now got itself in some hot water. For those that did not hear the news, now it's possibly going to get kicked off the MSCI benchmark. In October, note to investors, JP Morgan reported that MSCI was consulting on the appropriate treatment of companies whose primary business involves Bitcoin or other digital asset treasury activities. Like S&P, MSCI tends to disregard firms that resemble financialized investment vehicles to prevent digital asset treasuries, DATs, from distorting the sector's weights of its benchmarks. The firms proposed excluding companies whose crypto holdings represent more than 50% or more of their total assets, which no question MicroStrategy would meet, because 99% of what makes up MicroStrategy is its Bitcoin holdings. Now, this doesn't mean, right, if you truly do believe that Bitcoin is the future, then yeah, maybe MicroStrategy is something that you want to pay attention to. But you can see why all the red flags are being raised. When you look at MicroStrategy's actual value, right, hopping on to Investing Pro, we could scroll down and we could see, wow, okay, people, when they analyze this just at the surface level, they're like, wow, this business makes $7.9 billion of net income. That's huge. Wait, I thought it was only a $500 million business. How does it have nearly $8 billion in net income? Revenue is $479 million? Wait, what? How does that work? Wait, I thought we were at $8 billion. Wait, its P ratio is so low. Its net income is so high. It's because of how it's been able to start reporting its earnings as of this year. It now is able to use its unrealized gains of Bitcoin for that quarter and show it as income, but they have to do it consistently. So during a bull run, this is great because it looks like MicroStrategy, it makes it look like a very successful and profitable business during a bull run. What do you think is going to happen when Bitcoin, as we've recently seen, begins to retrace for an entire quarter or an entire year? They will have to show that as a net loss, even though it's unrealized. If they want all of the good during the bull run, they will have to report all of the bad during the bear run. And that's been the very unfortunate part about MicroStrategy and its stories, right? If you're part of my LPP team, you get to watch me trade live. It's been one of my favorite things to do is that when in doubt, short MicroStrategy. It's been so consistently bearish from its highs of $460 per share. You can't blame anyone for wanting to short it, right? MicroStrategy likes to call itself the ultimate money glitch, which I believe it is because there's never been a better company to short over a long period of time. And you guys could see that since July, it's been consistently selling off. But really since August to September, that's when it broke below the moving average and really began to sell off into its kind of like new lows, right? Now it's testing oversold range and it needs Bitcoin to recover. If Bitcoin begins to uptick, it does give MicroStrategy the environment to kind of recover as well. But we all know that if Bitcoin begins to retrace, and there's a lot of pullback potential based off of uncertainty and previous patterns, Bitcoin always crashes 50 to 70% in every single bear market. So if that's the case, how bad can it get for MicroStrategy? Because remember, this is how MicroStrategy is trading during a bull market. How will MicroStrategy trade during a bear market? So I don't think many people at that point would be very surprised. This has been one of my favorite stocks to short within our LPP live trading session because it's been super simple, right? Direction is super clear. Momentum is in our favor. Price action is in our favor. And I really do enjoy when it upticks, kind of like today. It ran up to highs of 187. It's very short-lived. MicroStrategy is always more willing to sell off than it is to uptick. So when it pumps, it's an overbought reversal. It's one of my favorite setups, and it offers huge downside potential. So I personally love when MicroStrategy tries to pump because then at that point, it gives me more downside margin to work with once that reversal forms. And again, if you ever want to watch me trade live, I've said it before, and there's never been a better time because right now we're offering 50% off for LPP 3.0. If you guys haven't checked it out, right now for our Black Friday sale, it ends tonight at midnight. So in less than 24 hours, this sale will be gone. It's our biggest discount. You'll get access to our daily live trading session, our A to Z video lesson library, and our private LPP 3.0 group chat. It's designed for complete beginners. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. So you can wait a few days and then you can sign up for $700 or you can join now and it's 50% off right now. And it's going to be the second link in the description down below if you want the Black Friday discount at 50% off. And as you can see, it expires in less than 1 day. Other than that, again, I wanted to make sure that you were informed on why MicroStrategy was not being included into the S&P 500. It wasn't because people hate MicroStrategy. It's because of how MicroStrategy makes its money. And that is not from the actual software business itself. It's from issuing debt, borrowing against investors, and buying an asset, something that any publicly traded company can do. There is nothing unique about MicroStrategy. And if you pay attention, you would realize that it's only the companies that are failing that always resort into these gimmicks to stay relevant and try to run up with the hype of Bitcoin. Very simple. If you believe in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin itself. Cut out the middleman. Why would you ever try to buy MicroStrategy to get diluted so Sailor can buy Bitcoin? Just cut out the middleman. Buy Bitcoin itself if that's what you see value in. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I hope that I earned a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below or feel free to message me via Instagram. And that's that third link in the description down below. Again, the Black Friday sale for 50% off LPP 3.0 will be valid until tonight at midnight. So whenever you're ready, second link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.